In order to get ahead, you need to make sure that your usual behaviours are working for you and not against you. So here are 5 habits that you need to stop now. Number 1, procrastinating. We all do it, but we all suffer as a result of it. When you simply put your head in the sand and ignore the things you have to do, you never feel good. It just means that you have to end up doing exactly the same work in far less time and under far more pressure. Firstly, you need to work out what's causing you to procrastinate. Not many people are just naturally lazy. Is it poor time management, fear, perfectionism, overwhelm? Once you know what's causing you to procrastinate, it's much easier to find solutions to overcome the habit. If you find yourself frequently procrastinating, you simply have to train yourself to get started. Taking small, imperfect action is so much better than doing nothing. We often talk about swallowing the frog. That is, if you have something to do that you don't want to do, you're best to just get stuck in and do it. Then it won't hang over you and put a cloud over your whole day. Set yourself a 20-minute timer and just write. It doesn't matter how good or bad your writing is, you can always come back and refine it. You just need to get something down on paper to move the thoughts swirling around your brain into something more concrete. After 20 minutes, you can stop and move on to something else, although you may well feel that you're on a roll and want to keep going. If so, allow yourself to do so. Often we find that once we actually start them, many tasks aren't as difficult or as overwhelming as we expected them to be. Number 2, cramming. Do you frequently leave things to the last minute and then have to cram or do an all-night session to get the work done in time? Well, this is not a recommended or sustainable practice. When we cram, we overwork the brain. It can only retain about an hour's worth of information in any one sitting. This means that if you do a 5-hour cramming session, your brain will retain only 1 hour of it, so you'll have wasted the other 4 hours. On top of that, you'll feel exhausted, which will have a negative physical impact on your brain, making you feel lethargic, disorientated, and fuzzy. Your body won't thank you for making it sit at a desk for a long period of time either. Struggling with backache throughout an exam will not help you focus. Instead of cramming, the trick is to do regular, short sessions of revision. This way, you don't oversaturate the brain and you allow yourself a chance to absorb all of the information. We know that multiple exposures to information helps embed it more deeply in the brain's neural pathways, making it easier to remember it down the track. This can't be achieved in one long cramming session. Limiting your study sessions to around an hour and setting a clear goal for each session ensures that you don't feel overwhelmed and can gain a sense of achievement when you complete the goal. Number 3, forgetting tasks. We have a ton of information that we need to remember at any time. This includes schoolwork, general tasks, random facts, work rosters, etc. Trying to stay on top of all of this information while it's just a swirling mess in your brain is extremely difficult. You're absolutely bound to forget something. So, to prevent this, you need to get into the habit of writing everything down. Carry a notebook into which you can jot anything you know you need to remember. Then, when you get a moment, take the time to organise the things on your list. Are there any that you can combine or do in the same time slot? Are there some that need to be a higher priority than others? Are there any that you can actually just cross off your list altogether? Writing everything down helps us create a sense of order and structure to our activities and to our thoughts. If you get into the habit of doing this each night just before bed, you'll go to sleep feeling much more relaxed. Emptying your brain and relieving it of the pressure of having to retain all this information will help signal that it's the end of the day and time to let go. Knowing that all the information is written down and won't be lost will also feel very reassuring. Number 4, being a people pleaser. Many of us get ourselves into a situation where we feel completely stretched and overwhelmed. Often, this is because we spend a lot of time doing things for others or focusing on their needs and wants rather than our own? Do you feel pressured to attend parties or other social functions even when you know you should be at home studying? Do you often take on extra shifts at work to keep your boss happy even when you have pressing deadlines? Do you hide your desire to study and succeed academically, fearing that it will put you on the outer in your social group? While it's good to be helpful, accommodating, and friendly, there comes a point where you need to put yourself first. If your friends don't support your desire to study, then you need to surround yourself with people who do. This doesn't mean that you have to ditch your friends altogether. You just need to hang out with them when you're ready to socialise and hang out with a different crowd when you have study to do. You need to set limits to the amount of time you can commit to others. Set boundaries and tell people what they are. Block your time so that you know exactly what time you have for studying, socialising, working, and exercising. Once you know how much time you can allocate to each activity, you now need to prioritise. If you have 4 hours a week for socialising, what social activities would you most like to engage in? Stick to your allocated time allowance and say no to any additional activities. For a while, you might feel like you're missing out, but once you get into the habit, it will become easier and people will have more respect for your decisions and let you do what you need to do. It's really important that you run your own race. If doing well academically is important for you, then you need to do it, regardless of what others might think. In 20 years' time, you may not still be friends with these people, but you will still need to work, preferably in a career that interests you and motivates you. Remember that it's okay to say no. In his book, Hell Yes or No, Derek Sivers argues that unless you really want to do something, you should simply say no. Don't get dragged into doing things you don't really care about at the expense of things you really want to do. You can apply this guide yourself. But remember, this idea applies to you as well. We all have choices. If you choose to spend 5 hours playing video games or partying with your mates, that's up to you. But remember that there will be consequences. The work still needs to get done. So why not use these activities as incentives and rewards to get the work done first? Then you can enjoy your hobbies without feeling guilty or stressed. Number 5, negative self-talk. You don't like it when other people criticise you or talk down to you, so why do it to yourself? The things we think and say about ourselves have a long-term impact. Remember, the brain listens to what we say. It doesn't know whether we're telling the truth or catastrophising. Our brains want us to be happy. So if you keep telling your brain that you're stupid, it won't force you to work too hard so that you don't experience anxiety or upset. Unfortunately, working hard is exactly what you need to do in order to improve your results and stop you from feeling that you're stupid. It's a vicious cycle. Make the word yet your favourite word. So instead of telling yourself, I'm no good at maths, make it, I'm not good at maths yet. This will give you an incentive to keep trying until you get the results you want. Be kind to yourself, but don't accept complacency. Swap words of criticism for words of encouragement. Think about how you would talk to someone else or how you would like them to talk to you, and use that same tone and words for yourself. Breaking these 5 habits will make a huge difference to the success you enjoy. And remember, as always, the goal is to study smarter, not harder. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to like it and to look for us on your social channels. For more great study tips, subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out our website.